Hello, my name is Sarah Bodman and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my artist book project, Read With Me. My project is a tribute in two parts. Firstly to the artist book Sisters of Menon by Susan Hiller, which was the first artist book that I discovered in the college library as a student. And secondly, also in tribute to the Fox sisters. They launched their careers as spirit mediums with a public performance on the 14th of November 1849 at the Corinthian Hall in Rochester, New York, and their performance played a huge part in the rise of interest in spirit rappings and in turn the founding of the spiritualist movement in 1850s America. Thinking about the Fox sisters over the years, I drew inspiration from the works of other artists dealing with the idea of performance, transmission and books. Tanya Passato of Book Art Bookshop introduced me to Kurt Johannessen's artist books, including Steiner, for which he selected stones on a hike and read fairy tales about trolls to each of them, as he says, 22 stories for 22 different stones. For my artist book, I selected 10 objects and I wrote each one of them a story, posted the objects to a psychometric reader for her to read and then tell me what they had told her. Thanks to a production residency at the London Centre for Book Arts, I made an edition of 100 books in July 2018. These were the first part of my collaboration with the psychometric reader. The exhibition then toured with the book and a selection of the objects until December 2019. Susan Hiller's publication came from her collaborative telepathy experiment called Draw Together. Hiller attempted to send images to friends all over the world to draw, but at the same time found herself as an agent of automatic writing. This work then became known as the Sisters of Menon, which communicated a powerful collective female solidarity of sisters. As the artist wrote in her notes for the book, simultaneously participant and spectator, author and reader, singular and plural, I feel more like a series of activities than an impermeable corporeal unit. I took inspiration from this statement and developed a new collaboration as part of my project. On Thursday the 14th of November 2019, an experiment took place in Bristol at Arnolfini's bookshop at precisely 6:30 p.m. In tribute to the Fox sisters and the artist Susan Hiller's Sisters of Menon publication, I invited participants to come along and capture an image that I attempted to transmit. Paper and pens were provided to create automatic drawings of my transmitted image, but I also allowed time for the image to travel worldwide so remote participants could also join in at home around the world. Participants either handed in their drawings to me on the night at Arnolfini or emailed or posted a copy of their drawings to me from across the UK and Europe, Australia and the USA. The results of the experiment were displayed in the exhibition Read With Me, which I organised at Barrow Ashton Library here in Bristol throughout December 2019 and January 2020. In total, I received 56 drawings contributed for the project. I made a series of automatic drawings on postcards and I sent one postcard to each participant as thanks in exchange for their own drawing. After the exhibition finished, I packaged up the drawings and sent them all to the psychometric reader. I asked the reader to spend no more than 1 minute on each drawing, as there were so many, but to hold it and tell me what came to mind from them. The reader completed the task and sent the notes back to me in March 2020, just as lockdown started in the UK. Each of the contributors' drawings now had a handwritten note, which I could use as a starting point to develop a series of collages to go into a new artist book. As it was lockdown, in between teaching and work I took my time and used materials I had around me at home. I used imagery from old sketchbooks and notebooks, and even cut up the weekend newspaper or any magazines I could find. The collages developed the theme of transmission, but also began to weave the theme of my projected image with that of the psychometric reader's notes. I also made images in response to previous artworks that related to the project and the idea of sisterhood, for example an apology to those accused in the Salem witch trials, and also lovely coincidences such as a box of flashcards that included a card each for both Fox and Hill. Recurring words in the readings included nature, hope, flowers, plants, hands. I began to cut the text up to create a kind of free-form verse. Some of the words or phrases became more meaningful as they were repeated and rearranged, and also as I began to think about the situation that we now found ourselves in lockdown. For example, phrases such as "don't be afraid, you are never alone," sharing sadness and grief, positive input equals positive output, a long and hard road, obstacles that disappear, and it's only a few steps to go. Some of the phrases reflected the origins of the project's references to transmission. For example, see below your consciousness, divine order, knowing what it's about, to empty one's head, and looking through the window. And some of my favourite readings were, for example, perfect just as it is, transforming dark into light, always talk, tell your truth, we walk each other home, protection, just follow the signs, holding hands. Hands and flowers were very prominent in the readings and collages, but were also components of the original image that I had projected, which was that of a spirit hand holding a bunch of flowers. After lockdown finally ended, I began to think about the production of the book. Jump forward to summer 2021, and it's still not great for me to travel, so instead I do a remote residency at the London Centre for Book Arts for a week in July. The edition of Read With Me was risograph printed by the amazing Esther McManus at LCBA, and then collated and bound by Simon Good and his helper on the project. The book is bound in a pattern cover with a letterpress title that references the original Sisters of Menon. The book is also the same size and format as the original. Although the content is very different to Sisters of Menon, I'm hoping that the book acts as a fitting tribute to the idea of transmission, to the work of Susan Hiller, and as a tribute to the original performances of the Fox Sisters in 1849. The project also gave me a chance to think during lockdown about the idea of collaborating with others, whether that's artists or writers, and the public, and what that means to co-create together. I like to think that the book reflects upon the idea of a network, of transmission and a sisterhood, but also looks ahead positively. It was finished as we started to emerge from lockdowns and together begin to wonder about our collective futures. Thanks for listening. There's more information on the Book Arts website, and if you have any questions, please do feel free to get in touch. Thank you.